Cam Newton can be absolutely right that Baltimore is the better situation. Yet none of us can look at Shedeur Sanders and find extreme fault with his position.
The shockwaves are still shaking the NFL after Shedeur Sanders flat out rejected the Baltimore Ravens' offer, and the takes are flying left and right. Some say he fumbled the bag by choosing Cleveland over Baltimore, especially with Lamar Jackson already running the show in Baltimore. Imagine the mentorship, the training, the blueprint Lamar could have handed Shedeur on a silver platter. But then you've got people like Stephen A. Smith, who swears Shedeur's decision was actually smart, more about carving out a future than playing second fiddle.
And Shedeur told them, nah, I don't want to sit behind Lamar Jackson. I want to be in a place where there's more of an opportunity to play. This kid's brain dead. This kid has been badly mentored by his father. This kid's ego is out of control. This kid...
And there are some things that if you could go back and change, obviously hindsight's 20/20. But when you're looking at the better situation is definitely Baltimore, where you could potentially learn from a great and see how he manages so many different things outside of football rather than just performing at an elite level.
Stephen A. insists Shedeur saw Cleveland as his fast track to becoming the guy. Let's be real. Sitting behind Lamar would have kept him locked in the shadows for years. So instead, Shedeur put himself in position to chase that starter role early. Bold? Absolutely. Risky? Without a doubt. But maybe that's exactly the point. Since Adam Schefter first dropped the bomb, analysts have been barking nonstop about this move. Emmanuel Acho has been one of the loudest, hammering the take that Shedeur flat out blew it. He says when an NFL chance like Baltimore comes knocking, you don't ask questions, you jump. Acho keeps warning that windows like this don't stay open forever, and if you play scared, you'll be stuck wishing you had taken the leap. He even pulled out a Tom Brady comparison, reminding everybody that Brady wasn't some top pick. He was a sixth rounder. But what did Brady do? He seized his shot in New England and turned it into the greatest quarterback story ever told. Acho claims Shedeur could have had the same setup in Baltimore, an elite system, the right culture, and a Hall of Fame quarterback to learn from. Instead, he says Shedeur gambled his future away by choosing Cleveland too soon. And then came Jason Whitlock, who didn't hold back for a second. He straight up called Shedeur brain dead for rejecting the Ravens.
Shedeur Sanders said he looks up to what quarterback?
The GOAT.
Tom Brady, right?
The GOAT.
When Tom Brady was drafted, was it in the first round?
No.
Was it in the second round?
No.
Was it in the third round?
No.
Was it in the fourth round?
No.
Was it in the fifth round?
No.
It was in the sixth round.
Yeah.
Now, when he was drafted, the first $100 million quarterback ever was on the Patriots, Drew Bledsoe, and Tom Brady turned into the GOAT.
According to Whitlock, this wasn't strategy, it was ego. He said Shedeur was blinded by pride, letting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slip through his fingers. In Whitlock's eyes, turning down Baltimore showed Shedeur doesn't understand the real game. It's not just about playing time today. It's about planting yourself in the perfect environment to become a legend tomorrow. Jason Whitlock didn't hold back. He blasted Shedeur Sanders for letting pride block his growth.
Nah, I don't want to sit behind Lamar Jackson. I want to be in a place where there's more of an opportunity to play. This kid's brain dead. This kid has been badly mentored by his father. This kid's ego is out of control. This kid...
In his eyes, Shedeur tossed away the chance to develop under one of the league's most respected and successful setups, the Baltimore Ravens. Whitlock swears Shedeur could have learned priceless lessons in that environment, but instead, he chose ego over patience. But then came Stephen A. Smith charging into the debate with a defense that had people leaning forward in their seats. He flipped the script, saying, you can't fault Shedeur for the move when you look at the bigger picture. Sure, joining the Ravens meant access to Lamar Jackson, but Stephen A. stressed that it also meant sitting behind Lamar for years. And let's be real, Lamar isn't just a quarterback. He's a tank, durable, physical, and not exactly the type to miss games often. The odds of Shedeur seeing the field in Baltimore were slim to none. Stephen A. laid out the receipts too, reminding everybody that Shedeur was fresh out of college with elite stats.
Cam Newton can be absolutely right that Baltimore is the better situation. Yet none of us can look at Shedeur Sanders and find extreme fault with his position.
a jaw-dropping 72% pass completion rate, and numbers that had scouts buzzing. With that kind of resume, Stephen A. argued it only made sense for Shedeur to want real playing time now, not in 3 or 4 years down the line. He said straight up, Shedeur wasn't short on options. There were teams like Cleveland, Buffalo, even Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow's nagging injuries opened the door wide. Imagine Shedeur stepping in for the Bengals. That could have been electric. So why waste away on the Ravens bench waiting for a miracle? Stephen A. made it clear. Shedeur was protecting his future, chasing immediate opportunities instead of praying for Lamar to get sidelined. Critics calling this move a mistake, Stephen A. said they're missing the whole point. This wasn't recklessness, it was strategy.
Things that if you could go back and change, obviously hindsight's 2020. But when you're looking at the better situation is definitely Baltimore, where you could potentially learn from a great and see how he manages so many different things outside of football rather than just performing at an elite level.
With his numbers, his talent, and the doors open across the league, Shedeur picked the path that lined up with his long-term goals, and that's what a smart quarterback does. The clash of opinions didn't stop there, because once Emmanuel Acho jumped back into the conversation, things got even messier. Acho doubled down, saying Shedeur Sanders wasn't just being short-sighted. He was rewriting the rules of how a young quarterback should handle his career. He claimed Shedeur's decision screamed impatience, almost like he wanted the crown before earning the stripes. Acho pointed out that history shows us greatness often comes from waiting your turn. He reminded everyone that Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for years before becoming a Hall of Famer. Patrick Mahomes even rode the bench behind Alex Smith before exploding onto the scene. According to Acho, Shedeur's refusal to sit, learn, and develop under Lamar Jackson could come back to haunt him big time. But here's where the debate gets juicy, because not everyone buys Acho's sit and wait lecture. Critics fired back saying times have changed, and today's game doesn't reward patience the way it used to. With NIL money, endorsements, and the non-stop pressure of social media, young stars like Shedeur are under the spotlight 24/7. Fans don't want to wait 3 years to see their quarterback shine.
You got to go through two individuals to insert yourself as, the starter. Dylan Gabriel, who's now the second quarterback at hand, and then obviously Joe Flacco. And when you consider those things, it's like,
They want fireworks now. And let's not forget the Cleveland factor. Choosing the Browns wasn't just about avoiding the Ravens' depth chart, it was about betting on himself in a city desperate for a savior. Cleveland fans have been burned for decades by quarterback experiments gone wrong. To them, Shedeur isn't just another rookie. He's the possible answer to years of misery. That pressure alone makes his decision 10 times spicier. Jason Whitlock wasn't having any of that, though. He kept pressing the ego button. He claimed Shedeur's move wasn't about strategy. It was about arrogance. He thinks he's already made it, Whitlock snapped, insisting Shedeur skipped a golden classroom experience in Baltimore for the quick dopamine hit of starting sooner. Now the question looming over the league is simple. Is Shedeur Sanders rewriting the quarterback playbook with confidence, or setting himself up for the kind of fall that critics like Whitlock and Acho won't let him live down? One thing's for sure, the league is watching every move he makes. The fans didn't sit quiet on this one either. The streets, barbershops, and social media feeds lit up the second the news dropped. Half the crowd is calling Shedeur Sanders a genius for betting on himself, while the other half is roasting him for throwing away a golden opportunity with the Ravens. The split is so wild, it feels less like sports talk and more like a full-blown cultural debate.
If your name and your number get called, you pick up. You pick up. You do not know how your career is going to turn out. Dak Prescott had Tony Romo ahead of him when he was drafted in the 4th round. Dak Prescott started since day one. Kirk Cousins is still in the league. When your name is called and your number is called in this life.
In Cleveland, fans are already hyping him as the franchise's next savior. Some are even saying this is the boldest quarterback move the city has seen in decades. Finally, someone with guts, one Browns fan shouted on a radio call-in show, celebrating the idea that Shedeur wasn't afraid to step into the fire. To them, his choice shows confidence and swagger, the kind of energy the Browns have been starving for. But outside of Cleveland, the mood is very different. Baltimore fans were furious, claiming Shedeur disrespected a once-in-a-lifetime shot to learn from Lamar Jackson. On Twitter, one fan wrote, Who turns down the chance to study under a former MVP? That's insanity. Others accused him of chasing fame instead of greatness, calling him all flash, no patience. The criticism wasn't just loud, it was relentless. And then you've got the neutral fans who just want to see chaos. They're fueling the fire by drawing comparisons. Was Shedeur bold like Joe Burrow, betting on himself in a tough spot? Or reckless like Johnny Manziel, thinking confidence alone could carry him? The narrative is already spinning out of control. And Shedeur hasn't even thrown a regular season pass yet. Sports podcasts are eating this up too, framing it as a generational clash. Older fans side with Whitlock and Acho, saying Shedeur should have respected the grind, while younger fans rally behind Stephen A., arguing that today's NFL is about making your own lane, not waiting for hand-me-downs. One thing is clear, Shedeur Sanders didn't just make a career decision, he sparked a nationwide argument about what it means to be a modern quarterback. And with the season around the corner, every snap he takes will either silence his critics or give them more ammo to say, "I told you so." On the flip side, Cam Newton came crashing into the debate, and he wasn't holding back. He flat-out rejected Stephen A. Smith's defense, blasting the idea that Shedeur Sanders made the right call. Cam said Shedeur turned down something priceless by walking away from Baltimore. To Cam, being around Lamar Jackson wasn't just about learning X's and O's, it was about soaking up the blueprint of how to survive as a superstar in the NFL. Cam broke it down plain and simple. Greatness isn't just built on the field, it's built in the way you carry yourself under the pressure, the media glare, the weight of an entire city's expectations. He argued that Shedeur had a chance to learn those lessons firsthand from Lamar, and instead, he threw it away, chasing the illusion of starting quicker somewhere else. Then Cam took it a step further. He called out Stephen A.'s claim that Shedeur could step in for Cleveland. According to Cam, that's just not reality. Right now, Shedeur sits third on the Browns' depth chart, buried behind Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco. Cam said straight up, it's nearly impossible for Shedeur to leapfrog both without a miracle. If playing time was the goal, Cleveland wasn't exactly the golden ticket everyone is making it out to be. Instead, Cam insisted the Ravens were the smarter move, even without a starter's spot waiting. He said just being in Baltimore's locker room, learning from elite talent and a proven coaching staff would have been an invaluable crash course for Shedeur's long-term career. And that's where the divide stands. The NFL world is split right down the middle. Some, like Stephen A., argue Shedeur was chasing growth and immediate opportunity. Others, like Cam Newton and Emmanuel Acho, say he blew a once-in-a-lifetime chance to develop under a system built for greatness. The reality, nobody knows how this gamble will play out. Maybe Shedeur shocks the world in Cleveland. Maybe he struggles, forcing fans to wonder what could have been if he had suited up in purple and black under Lamar's wing. What's certain is this, his choice has shaken the league, and the debate won't die anytime soon. So what do you think? Did Shedeur Sanders play it smart, or did he just pass on the golden ticket of his career? Was chasing early playing time worth more than learning from Lamar Jackson? Drop your thoughts below, like, share, and leave a comment because this story is far from over.